Make sure to check out my Covey account, link down in the description. And check out my other series, Modern Classics and TV Treasures.
His name is Henry. He's all about those classics. Dust off the old ones. And
Can't be done, I tell you. Can't be done.
He finds some goodies. And finds you some baddies. And reviews ones. Folks from forgot. His name is Henry. He's old with the mustache. 1 century reviews are here. His name is Henry. He's old with the mustache. 20th century reviews are here. 20th century reviews are here.
Hello, I'm Henry R. Mockingbird, your host with the mustache here. And today, for my comeback, we're going to take a look at Lon Chaney Sr.'s Hunchback of Notre Dame. So, let's get started, shall we? In 15th century Paris, the evil brother of the archdeacon, Gian, lusts over a gypsy girl named Esmeralda, while him and the gypsy king Clopin are planning a peasant revolution. And meanwhile, his hunchback slave, Quasimodo, planned to kidnap Esmeralda, but Esmeralda is saved by Captain Phoebus. Afterwards, Quasimodo and Esmeralda strike up an unlikely bond. So what are my thoughts on this movie? Well, I like it. This is easily one of Lon Chaney's best work. It's up there with The Phantom of the Opera as far as I'm concerned. I've always seen that making Hunchback with Lon Chaney Sr. was Irving Thalberg's idea, but Chaney's business manager, Alfred Grasso, has papers revealing otherwise. Chaney had wanted to do Hunchback so bad that he actually auctioned the rights to the book before it landed in the hands of producer Irving Thalberg and Universal. Chaney even got his best friend, Wallace Wordsley, to direct the film, having had success with him on films like The Penalty and The Aces of Hearts. Thalberg was no stranger to producing epics, as at the time he was producing the film Foolish Wives. They would use the backlot that was being used to film that movie to film Hunchback. They built the bottom of the cathedral and combined the rest of it with a miniature shot. Every spotlight in Hollywood was used to film the movie. As for Chaney's makeup, he got the concept after looking at an illustration of Quasimodo. It pretty much meant he had to alter his own body. Makeup took 3 hours to put on and was extremely uncomfortable. I'll let Michael J. Blake, aka Independence Day / Spider-Man 3 makeup artist, who also wrote the book A Thousand Faces, explain how the makeup was done.
Everyone said he wore a 70-pound rubber hump, and it's not true. It was 5 to 20 pounds, and it was made out of plaster. And it fit on a harness that he wore on his back, similar to a backpack, attached around the waist. And up on the upper portion of the breastplate area, he had some ropes. And he would take the rope, and he'd bend down and tie himself here, so he would be in a stooped position.
Let's talk about the characters, starting with the main character, Quasimodo, played by Lon Chaney Sr., and he is the highlight of this movie. He brings out both the tragic and monstrous side of the character. When Quasimodo becomes the king of fools, everyone just laughs at him for his disfigurement. He's kind of like Gwen played in The Man Who Laughs, where he's made fun of just for his disfigurement. And when Esmeralda dances and he comes over to check her out, she just looks at him and gives him a disgusting look. And he gives this sad face. You really feel sorry for him. And it's a testament to how much Lon Chaney Sr. can emote with all that makeup buried under him. Not only is he ridiculed for his disfigurement, but he slaves to this dirtbag Jahan, who makes him kidnap Esmeralda for his gain. And he is the one who ends up paying for Jahan's crimes, as he's sentenced to the gallows to get his ass whooped. And the most screwed up thing about it, the whip has metal things on the end. And everyone is cheering like it's a WWE wrestling tournament as he's getting whooped. And the screwed up thing about it is that they cut away before we see it, and all we see is his face. And it shows what other agony he's in. Quasimodo is also part of a trope I like to call the Hunchback trope. Take it away, geek.
Hello, I'm the geek, here with another tropes analysis. Now, the trope of the hunchback mostly implies to a man who is hunchback. Now, a hunchback can mostly apply to all forms of media.
This trope applies to Fritz from Frankenstein, Igor from Young Frankenstein, Gru from Despicable Me, Jim from Harry Potter, and it could also apply to television, comics, and video games.
Lon Chaney Sr. even gets to show his athletic skills as Quasimodo, as Quasi swings around like a mother freaking baboon on a string. As he climbs down, we get to meet this movie's villain, Jahan, and his role is rather confusing, to say the least. He's neither a prince, nor is he a duke or a senator. He's basically the brother of the archdeacon. And then there's our second villain, or should I say secondary antagonist, Clopin, played by Ernest Terrence, who was also Captain Hook in Peter Pan 1924. Now, I'm not familiar with Clopin being an antagonist. I don't know if he's an antagonist in the book since I've never read it. The version of Clopin I'm familiar with is the one in the Disney version. The one who's always playing with puppets and singing songs. Clopin is the leader of a flipping cult. A cult of criminals. These gypsies are criminals, dirty crooks. They're always conning people, pretending to be crippled and all that. They pretty much con, rob, and steal from the rich for their own benefits. They're not good people. They are terrible people. This movie does not give you not one good reason to like nor sympathize with them, even though they're poor as dirt. They're terrible people. It's not like the Disney version where they try to show some sympathy towards them. No, these mother truckers are literally stealing and conning people. They literally try to hang a dude at one point. No, I'm serious. They try to hang this poet who's pretty much done nothing to them, and Esmeralda is the only one who puts a stop to it. Talk about our leading lady of the film, Esmeralda, who just so happens to be Clopin's adopted daughter. More on that later. Esmeralda is kind but firm. She has a very childlike innocence to her. There's a heartwarming scene where she takes pity on Quasimodo, who is dehydrated, and gives him a pitcher of water. She helped him, so later he returns the favor by saving her from being hanged and pulling a sanctuary. And then there's Captain Phoebus, who is the typical hero in armor, a role that pretty much would have been best suited for Douglas Fairbanks, or if this was made years later, Errol Flynn. Both him and Esmeralda strike up a pretty cute romance. Spoiler alert, I'm going to spoil the ending of this movie, so if you want to go in unspoiled, skip to this time code. Hans stabs Captain Phoebus in the back, and Esmeralda is framed for Captain Phoebus's murder and is sentenced to the torture chamber. This torture chamber is quite horrifying. Even though this guy being tied up kind of reminds me of Eric Idle.
Always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the light side of life.
After being forced into a false confession, Esmeralda is sentenced to be hung. This woman hates gypsies with the passion of a billion suns, mostly because her daughter ended up getting kidnapped by gypsies. And in this scene, it's revealed that Esmeralda is her long-lost daughter. And she goes from kill her, to save her. The final battle is an angry mob attacking Notre Dame, and it's a pretty fun climax. My favorite part would probably have to be this scene where the gypsies break a barrel and start drinking wine out of it. It's such a funny thing to keep cutting back to, yet I love it. The final battle is really exciting to watch. Quasimodo throwing stones at them, Esmeralda offering to help, and Quasimodo saying no is kind of lame. Quasimodo throwing a linking log at them and crushing several gypsies. And Quasimodo throwing boiling oil at them is also pretty cool. If you want a good introduction to Lon Chaney Sr.'s work, go to Paris and visit Quasimodo and go watch The Hunchback of Notre Dame with them. 5 gold stars. Well, that's pretty much all I have to say about Lon Chaney Sr.'s Hunchback of Notre Dame. Well, until the next review, I'm Henry R. Mockingbird, your host with the mustache, signing off.